I would like to call to order the Kingston Public Library Board of Trustees February board meeting at 6:03. In attendance, we have Shannon Gothier, Carolyn Bromage, Jen Quackenbush, Ralph Calderaro. We have Nicholas Catullus, archivist, and Donald Cullen, library director, and myself, Emily Curtin. The first thing in our agenda is minutes approval. There were two sets of minutes that went out. One from December and one from our January meeting. So first we can vote on the December minutes. I don't know if there are any edits to those minutes that went out. If not, I'll take a motion to accept them as presented.
I move to accept the December minutes as presented.
I'll second them.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you for that. The January minutes are a little bit different because two of us were in attendance at that meeting, so we can vote. Everyone else watched the meeting after the fact, so I think they would be able to vote, or I'm not sure.
That is an interesting question. I'm going to have to say no. I think that
Because we can't have a quorum because mathematically we wouldn't have a quorum.
correct. So I would then say to hold off the vote, and I will get clarification from the clerk's office
Okay.
as to the best way to proceed with that. Whether it is a case of the two attendees, do a vote and the remaining, abstain from it.
Okay, that makes sense. Carolyn, we're on standby until next month.
I'm ready to move when I
Keep that
get
meeting fresh in your mind.
Okay, so we're moving this to the next move.
Yes, the January minutes will be moved to
the
March meeting. Great. So in keeping with discussing our last month's meeting, I did send out the link so that everyone could watch the presentation of the Kingston 300th Book Committee. And then I didn't know if anyone would want to put forth their thoughts about that. We did talk to them about how the library could be helpful to them in terms of programming, publicity, and just general partnership when it came to their project. I didn't know if anyone had any thoughts that they wanted to express after watching the meeting. Aside from the fact that you felt there were some awkward silences. Anything?
No, the only thing, because I didn't attend the actual meeting, but I went through it on the computer. And the only thing I came to was that the only way that they can ever get any money from us is if there is some kind of activity that the library has, and that the money could then be used to pay for that activity.
Right.
But that's kind of difficult to set up. It's not a direct way of doing it. It would be a very indirect way that they would be able to get money.
Right. And I think Donald had mentioned that, of course, we could do programming that supported their project, and that would be one way that we could help them in terms of.
The only other thing I did think was that, every month, the library sends out through the computer a update for the month. Well, they could do that, send that out with the library on a monthly basis. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think they had asked if they could have a spot in the newsletter or notification in the newsletter. And actually, since our last meeting, a blast went out from the rec department.
It did, yeah.
On that, so that was a
Yes.
way for them to reach a demographic that may have been previously unaware of the project.
Yes.
So that's one way that we could help.
Yes,
But as far as money is concerned, it would be very difficult.
yes, agreed. As long as everyone was comfortable, since Carolyn and I were the only two members here able to speak on the board's behalf. I just wanted everyone to be comfortable with the presentation and how it was addressed by the board. So if everyone is all right with that, then, yeah,
Yeah.
no, okay.
No.
Fantastic. Did you have anything to add, Don?
I do not. I think that the board has recognized, the potential issues with, trying to support that project, financially. I think that, yes, programming would be the best avenue, and we can work with them as far as, some forms of publicity to get the word out.
Have they come back at all since the meeting? And been in touch?
They actually had been, Mr. Brack had brought down some flyers, which we do have posted in the public bulletin board. So we have exposed that.
Great, I'm sure every little bit helps, because
Absolutely.
if they want to get the word out to more people and expand involvement, then. All right, then, the next is the facilities update.
Okay, so basically on the facilities update, I just want to reach back to something that was omitted from my previous director's report. Was an issue with the when we had the heavy rains in December. It did cause an overflow of water that was coming down the basically the parking lot because of the incline, and the drain that we have out there was not able to sustain dispersing it. So we did have water infiltration in a lobby vestibule, which did seep into the circulation area as well as teens. Facilities was very quick to respond to assist us in getting the water removed from the areas. They also brought in fans and things like that, as well as contacting the cleaners to bring special equipment to suck up the water and so forth. And there appears to be no lingering effects from that situation. It did bring on a discussion with the facilities manager about future plans for that area, because it will be, during heavy rains, it will potentially be an ongoing issue, because, the incline of the driveway, the parking lot is what it is, and the buffer curbing that's out there just wasn't sufficient, because it was just coming down in sheets. During that time also, we did have the leaks in the teen room. Or they were actually drips. The actual location, the cause, where it started could not be traced back. Ideally, it's a case of water running down the dusty, inside ceiling and what have you, and there was no indication of that. So there wasn't an actual clear path for that. So we are keeping an eye on the roof in case there is an issue with that. And I think those are the only things that went really touch base on.
Can I ask about the Eversource?
So the
Any
Eversource,
update?
there has been absolutely no update on the Eversource project. My assumption is that it is going to begin back in spring. And everything that was said, the limited footprint of, vehicles did not come true. There definitely was more vehicles parked in the library's parking lot. The time frame, and there was about a week for this, a week for that. Obviously those things fell through, and some of it was has to be blamed on weather in this time of the year for that. But there hasn't been any further communication from them
I
as
was
to the
wondering if
status.
you would get a new point person, because I know that the gentleman that came and spoke at our meeting is no longer in that position.
That is correct.
So we would have to have a different individual as the point person for this project.
Yeah. All right. And I'll just touch base with the things that were in my report for facilities. So we did have a boiler inspection that, the boiler is fine. We did get, it was noted that items being stored too close to the boiler. Facilities has come through and begun, removing items, working with me to kind of reorganize and stuff. So that, has, taken place actually within the last week. The LED sign,
I saw it was back up and running.
so sorta. So- So they came on Friday, so they came last week, they couldn't do the work that needed to be done because of the weather, because they had to take the panels down and it was kind of raining. So they did come on Friday, they were able to replace the broken pot with the pot that we had a spare out back, so they were able to replace it. The issue is water infiltration into the unit. So they did silicone it, but if we continue to have problems, that they would have to come back and basically take all the panels down and resale the whole thing. So that was as of Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, Nick noticed that there was kind of some outages of panels. So I contacted them and they will now be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to take a look at that issue as well. So it is an ongoing issue with the LED sign. I don't know how many more, I mean, we do have boxes of pots. The site visit for them to just come out was $500. Yeah, and so historically, facilities had paid for that. So my concern is that, that I don't know if this is just going to kind of be a money pit.
Right.
Sort of thing that, that it may be a case of that we need to look at other options for weatherproofing it. Because if the silicone isn't, cutting it, then,
You would think that they would have taken care of that if they knew it was an outdoor piece of equipment.
so.
We'll keep us posted.
I
Because
think-
the only thing that is predictable is that the weather's totally unpredictable. Like
Absolutely,
now, now we're constantly getting, heavier rains than ever before, or whatever the case may be.
yes. Well, that's it for facilities.
Then the next item is the Sampson Fund request.
Okay, so a request was made to the Sampson Fund. It was, there was a delay in getting the information out to department heads. So the timing of the ask and being able to do it, so I did submit a request. I did ask for $6,000 to add handicap accessible buttons to the public restrooms, as well as the entrance to the children's room. So this will allow individuals with mobilities issues, as well as parents, with strollers and, only a free elbow to tap a button, easy access to, access the bathrooms. We want to be a welcoming place for all individuals with all capabilities and abilities. So, I just kind of felt that that was something that was definitely needed, here as an update. I don't think that, I know that that ask will not be enough to cover the whole thing. So I am expecting to utilize state aid to finish the project. I know that there's a couple of meetings coming up for the Sampson Fund, where they'll discuss and they'll let us know what the decisions are for the asks.
And thank you for making note of the fact that I guess it never dawned on me that they were not accessible. Or not fully accessible. That is problematic. So then we are rolling into the rest of your report, so you can keep
I can
going.
keep on going, yes. So just grab my report. Okay, so let's see, So the big highlights is I did complete the fiscal 23 town report entry. So that there was a deadline for January for that. So that was completed. So it has the updated information for fiscal 23, all the activities, any special notable events that happened during that time that were included in the year. I met with the Friends of the Library to discuss their focus on the book sales. They have opted to focus mainly selling the books and items in the book nook in the library physically, rather than holding the larger book sales. It has become a physical challenge for many, and with the limited resources and volunteers that they have, they kind of felt that this was the best approach to go to, which we totally support that. So we will be working with them. I did contact the company that utilizes a big bin at the transfer station for book collections. So we will now be able to, they did actually deliver the bin today. And we'll be able to put our books in that. It's a big blue cart on wheels. They come in, they empty it, they bring it to wherever. The Friends will actually get some revenue from it. It will be 4 cents a pound. From my understanding, it's 2 to 4 cents a pound. And they can come on a weekly basis, and that will help alleviate the need for library staff to bring the books that are being recycled out to the shed. The bin is a little bit bigger than I expected, and so the actual proposed location did not pan out. So right now it is in my office. But we will make space for it because it is the best of both worlds. So like the library discards can be donated to the Friends, and so that they would be able to reap the benefit of the that extra funding versus their leftovers from their any of their book sales or the discards and things like that. So it was a very good kind of idea to go with this particular company. I did review the Library of Things collections that we had that have remained unprocessed for a period of time. These were items that were purchased with the intent for the library things. However, my professional view is that they came with health and safety concerns. So these items were donated back to the foundation as they were the funding source. So those items will be utilized for their upcoming gala, which will be April 5th, for folks to attend as a fundraising event for the library. And the idea being that that these would be more, there were a lot of food prep type of items and things, and as well as some specialty tools and stuff that just for the liability part for the town, that wouldn't be advisable to do that. The next thing would be that we did receive our first payment of state aid, which was great. It was also the same day that I paid the $9,000 for the server. So easy come, easy go. Sort of thing. But those are really the highlights of my report. If there are any questions, I will gladly answer.
How much more state aid are we getting? Do we know, or?
So we will probably get, so what is listed here, the second payment will be approximately the same amount.
When is that? Sorry.
That will be March, April.
Any other questions for Donald on his report, or I'll just bundle the staff reports with that?
I just the one thing I saw that Karen is out for an extended amount of time, and that's
We're making do with
Making do,
that.
okay.
Yes, I'm getting a crash course with accounting and bills, and it actually has given opportunity because there are some existing accounts that actually pertain to the Adams Center that have sums of money that have not been either utilized in multiple years. So I've been in contact with the town accountant for clarification. Some of these accounts are special town meeting articles.
So the money has to go back.
No, that they just have to, they have to be used for those purposes. So there was a small amount, for example, and I think this was at the time that they did the funding for the renovations, for the preservation. Part of it was for, there's a small amount for materials purchase. There was events, support, as well as a cost for liability insurance. There is a revolving account that was listed as well, which my belief is that that is the account that is utilized for when people utilize the Adams Center and need to pay, that is the account that the funds would go into. Which does have a sum of money, which I was told can only be used for insurance liability or for the upkeep of the building. Which is, fine, so we kind of have that clarification. I did print out make follow copies of the actual special town meeting articles for those other accounts so that we kind of have it more, because some of these things are going back to 2011. So that we have what the purpose was.
I'd like to get, if possible, contact information so we can send our well wishes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments on the staff report, then I'm actually going to give the foundation update because Deb said I could. It's all about the gala. That's what they're focused on right now, April 5th. They're still looking for potential silent auction items, if anyone has any ideas or leads. I believe that it is Sarah Ertz and Jen Simpson, who are the two main contacts for the gala. So those are the individuals you would go through. And that is what they are working on right now. Tickets are already on sale.
They're selling.
So after that, we have payment of bills. We don't have any bills as far as I know. Old business. I always just like to put out the next couple meetings here. I think March is the next one, I believe. It was the 4th, and then we could add April.
Yeah, I think we only went to March.
Yeah, we only did. So we can add April, just so we have 2 on the calendar, if that's okay. So if it was March 4th, it would be
The 8th. Or you want to do the 1st? April's a long month this year.
and the 1st is the day after.
Yeah.
How about? From a selfish perspective, I have a doctor's appointment on the 8th in Weymouth right before the meeting time, so maybe the 15th in April. Is that too long of a stretch for you?
That's April
Holiday.
vacation.
April vacation. Try to get back in time.
Why don't we just push the meeting later if we have to?
Okay.
Do a 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock start for that
Fine,
one night.
7 o'clock on April 8th. Thank you. For brainstorming. Okay. And then we will we will have 3 board seats up at once. Because the seat that Shannon holds is up, the seat that I hold is up. And Dan's seat will be available.
For this election, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how it will work with Dan since his is following a resignation.
Has he resigned? Because in the paper this week, it only listed that the library has 2 seats open.
His letter has not gone in. It has been written. Donald's spoken to him about it.
Yeah, because they listed,
Officially.
they listed the openings in the paper, and it was only 2 for the library, which would. be
And those
yours
are
mine.
our seats.
Mhm.
So just to make everybody aware, because then we'll have new board members after.
When the election's late, isn't it? It's not until May, I thought I saw it.
Is it May? That might be why the papers aren't out, because we're used to it being earlier than that.
I want to say, I thought it said like May 18th or something, which I was surprised at.
I feel like in the past, we've had papers at this point, but then again, the election's been in,
Right.
so that's probably why.
Yeah, it said the papers, you couldn't get the papers till the 12th, which is next Monday.
Good to
It
know.
just seemed late. I don't know, seemed later than usual.
How long are these? Like. BC, like is yours yearly?
3 years.
3 years.
Mine was 3 years. They're different, so I don't know.
They were,
Yeah.
but then John said they should be 3, right? Or the summer ones.
They, so if in the midst of a term, a vacancy is made from resignation or what have you, then a new trustee would be appointed to complete that term.
Required.
So if you came in on year 2 of someone's term, you would do 1 more year and then that seat would be up. So it can be that it's, but you would run. So you're appointed until the next election. And then at that, so
So
Yeah.
Dan's
That is,
position
I
would
believe,
be
what is what will
appointed,
happen
not-
with Dan.
correct,
And
correct.
it will be until his term is up, which is 2020.
It's on the, yeah, it's on the,
It's
it's on the list, it lists us on the.
Um,
town.
and so that will be
Dates.
separate from ours is just the natural end of a term starting next. Okay, so we have the meetings, then any new business? Not seeing any, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:30. Have a second?
All in favor?
Aye.